What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down this 5-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Absolutely crushed last night once again, guys. Hopefully you played Trae Young in your DFS lineups. He was my lock of the night, and he went out there and just absolutely went off. 85 DraftKings. If you played him over there on FanDuel, you would have been very happy as well. Even cheaper over there. In the large $15 tourney on DraftKings, I know I was in there, and I think he was like 6 or 7% owned as well. So it was great leverage. He absolutely torched the Portland Trailblazers as I expected. 85 DraftKings points. Hopefully, you played the lock of the night. If you didn't, guys, you came to the right place. KJK DFS Daily Fantasy Sports Content. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and it doesn't stop there because yesterday, once again, sponsor of the channel, Parlay Play, we were able to cash in on a $25 10x pick to multiply our money from $25 to $250. We've already hit 2 of those on the week. We started out with a $10 bankroll for this bankroll challenge. That bankroll has increased to $534.85. So really good stuff going on there. That's factoring in the free plays as well they give me. I'm just including that in the bankroll. I think I won like $1.34 last night off that. But I mean, the picks, guys, have been absolutely crushing. If you haven't signed up for Parlay Play yet, you need to. $50 deposit bonus when you do use promo code KJK003. The best way to do that, click that referral link down below in the description, and that'll give you my promo code. You'll get that $50 instant match deposit. You also get a risk-free $10 to start with off the app. The first few games you could test out, figure out the app, that risk-free $10. You don't have to risk anything. Then once you get done with those, go ahead and risk whatever you want. Sign up today. Use promo code KJK003, guys. $10 to $534.85. If you aren't signed up yet, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not hitting the like button, I don't know what you're doing. So let's get into it, guys. Let's keep it going. Juices are flowing. We're feeling good. The locks of the night are hitting. Trae Young went off again. We got our Parlay Play picks in. Let's keep it up. If you're interested in some daily fantasy sports premium content from me, I would highly recommend it as well, guys. I keep forgetting to say this on the video, but I gotta say it because it's a great product. It's $19.99 a month for the premium NBA projections. That's also linked down below in the description on patreon.com/KJK_DFS. It's only $19.99. I promise you, you're going to make your money back very quickly. You get the premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, my core plays, and you get the Discord chat access. If you want to just sign up for the Discord, I'm offering it at a discount of only $1. It's typically $10 for the month of January. Giving you a discount, only $1, guys. So I keep forgetting to say that. Sign up. Sign up for Parlay Play, cash in with me, winning these picks, $25 to $250. And let's get into the breakdown today with all that stuff out of the way. We got Memphis taking on Cleveland. First game on the slate in this one. Darius Garland is listed as questionable. That's obviously a very big piece of news. If he is indeed back, that's going to cut into a lot of usage for other guys. It's going to give him a bunch of usage. He hasn't played since December 26th. I continue to say that my approach to this is depending upon how long they're out. So he's been out for like around a week. Not the worst in the world. I do think he's a young kid. He should be pretty good to go here. I wouldn't be too worried about him. Problem is he's priced up, so that's a little bit scary. But if he does climb back into the starting lineup, with this team dealing with more injuries to Okoro, Cedi Osman, etc., I do think he could be a pretty decent play for you. Taking on a Memphis squad that has not been good defensively all season long. This game comes in with a 217.5 over-under with a 3.5 point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So expect it to be a decently paced game, not the fastest paced game in the world. If he comes back, though, his usage should be very high. Kevin Pango's not exactly the guy that's going to dominate him for the usage, so I would like that. Kevin Love, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen continue to be the top plays on the Cavaliers side of things. Kevin Love's production has been an all-time impressive rate. The problem is he's coming off the bench. He's only playing about 30 minutes, and his price tag continues to increase. So grading out as a respectable play for me, nothing that I'm getting too excited about. And as far as anyone else in this game, I do think you could take a look to a Lamar Stevens at a 3-3 price tag. He has been playing a lot of minutes. He's only 3-3, and he does grade out as a pretty good value play for me on this slate tonight. 31 minutes last time out, 23 DraftKings points. Not the best fantasy point producer on the season, putting up about 0.65 DK points per minute, but that's a respectable production when you're factoring that he's only 3-3. So I did want to mention him as a value play in this one. And the other guy you got to be looking to is Brandon Clark at 3-8. With Kyle Anderson being out, Brandon Clark is going to see some more playing time. His price tag has not really been adjusted accordingly. He's seen the mid-20s the last couple times out. Has crushed at his price tag, 35, 27 DraftKings points. And I do think he can continue to do so in this particular matchup. You could also be taking a look to a Jaren Jackson Jr. and a Killian Tilly at a 3-3 price tag. Pulling up Mr. Killian Tilly here. at the 33 price tag. Once again, a decent piece of value that's been playing a decent amount of minutes. Not too high on him, but you could go there if you want to get risky in your tournaments. And lastly, the guy that's going to grade out to me as a decent play of this game would be Jaren Jackson Jr. at 6'4". Continues to be too underpriced for his upside. The problem is he's very versatile. There's a high likelihood he lets you down. He really hasn't been that great. But the fact of the matter is he could go out there and put up to 50 DraftKings points on any given night. So for that reason, I would give you the green light on him. Pay-up options in this game, Ja Morant on the Memphis side, definitely going to be a reasonable pay-up option. He continues to be priced in the upper 9K range, even though he's producing 50-plus DraftKings points a game. Really producing at a high rate. So if you want to continue to play him, it's not the best fantasy environment, but I would give you the green pass. And Desmond Bane, I give you the green pass because there is no Dillon Brooks. Until Dillon Brooks comes back, these two guys' usage is through the roof. They're getting a lot of shots. Desmond Bane, 47 DraftKings points last time out at a 6'9 price tag. At a 6'7 price tag, you'd be very happy with that output if you were able to replicate that tonight. San Antonio Spurs taking on the Toronto Raptors. DeJounte Murray is listed as out. He was already ruled out for Tuesday's game because of conditioning, so he's going to continue to be ruled out. That is a big piece of news, obviously. That's going to give a big bump up to whoever starts in this game. We saw Jones get the start last time. He's expected to once again at a 3.8 price tag. He was a lot cheaper last time around, which did make it pretty easy to be putting him in our lines. But the fact of the matter is that 3.8, that's still a pretty respectable price tag. I don't hate it. And with the Spurs team dealing with some other injuries and some guys being underpriced, there's definitely some spots that we could be looking to here at a 226 over-under. Toronto Raptors really haven't been the best team defensively. Of course, it's all going to start with Derek White. Regardless of who starts at the point guard position, Derek White's usage should be way up with there being no DeJounte Murray. His price tag really has not adjusted accordingly. He's gone from 6'8 to 7 to 7'2. Not enough of a price tag hike, in my opinion. It's just not. He's going to continue to grade out as a phenomenal play. The usage is still there. Definitely would be willing to keep targeting him. As far as the other guys in the starting lineup as well, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, both really good fantasy point producers. And Devin Vassell's price tag, Keldon Johnson's price tag, I don't think has climbed enough. Keldon Johnson continues to be a very versatile play as well. He can definitely let you down, but the fact of the matter is he's got the upside. At only a 6K price tag, he can certainly go out there and put up 50. Unfortunately, he might put up 20 for you, but that's just some of these versatile plays. So he's a tournament play. I'd give you the green light on. You can't get mad at me because I gave you the disclaimer. Devin Vassell, 41 minutes last time out, 38 DraftKings points. Once again, 4-4, too cheap. And the other guy that I would certainly be looking to if he does return, Trey Jones, Brent Forbes off the bench, all both going to be great plays as well. Trey Jones, his price tag did come up to 3.8. That was the only problem. He was only 3.1. Still a really friendly price tag. Brent Forbes at 3.9, played 35 minutes. Still a very friendly price tag. So both those guys, I give you the green light. And lastly, Bates Diop. He's questionable if he is indeed ruled in, putting up 0.82 DK points per minute at only a 3.7 price tag. He is going to grade out as a phenomenal value for me. Trey Jones at 3.8, like we already touched on, phenomenal value. Devin Vassell at 4.4, like we already touched on, phenomenal value. And lastly, Jakob Poeltl at 6.1, next to Mr. Keldon Johnson, is once again a good play for the value. Jakob Poeltl taking on the former team here. Do like his upside at only a 6.1 price tag. So I have a lot of interest on the Spurs side. The Toronto side of things, they do have their minutes very solidified, but they are priced pretty appropriately. That's the only problem that I see here. Van Vliet's been putting up 50-plus per game. If you want to go there, I certainly do think it makes sense. Siakam, 50-plus per game. Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, all of these guys are getting a bunch of minutes. And the production has certainly been there. The only problem is they're all there on the same court together, all kind of cutting into each other's usage. So I would encourage you to limit your exposure to two. Obviously, the top usage guys are Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. They're priced up accordingly, though. So if you want to dig into the lower price range of those four guys and go to some cheaper guys, I would not call you crazy. As far as who grades out the best for me as far as upside at their price tag for me, it would have to be Gary Trent Jr. at 5.8. He's a guy that I didn't even list on that list quite yet. But the fact of the matter is, at a 5.8 price tag, this guy's also playing a pretty solid allotment of minutes. Only 20 minutes last time out, but that's because I think he's dealing with some conditioning. And if he's able to get back up to his normal minutes, he really grades out as a phenomenal play here for his price tag. Indiana taking on the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are dealing with a bunch of injuries. The Indiana Pacers are dealing with a bunch of injuries. So, for that reason, we are going to have a lot of interest in this game. This game only has a 207 over-under with a 1.5 point spread in favor of the New York Knicks. So, it's a terrible fantasy point environment, not the fastest up-tempo game. So, there's a little bit of a disclaimer there. But the fact of the matter is, there's no Julius Randle, no Karis LeVert, no Malcolm Brogdon, no Derrick Rose, no Kemba Walker, no Chris Duarte. Mitchell Robinson is questionable. Nerlens Noel was already ruled out. No T.J. McConnell. Jeremy Lamb is listed as questionable. So these teams are dealing with lots of injuries, and for that reason, there are certainly going to be some guys that are standing out to me. The first one is going to be Mr. Dwayne Washington Jr. at a 4K price tag. Once again, he hasn't seen his price tag climb quite enough if he's going to be starting in this game, even though it's a slow environment. Put up 27 DraftKings points last time at a 3.3 price tag. At his 4K price tag, still does grade out as a pretty good value for me here. Him and Trey Jones, the two value point guards in the slate, certainly making a lot of sense. We have some center value as well that we'll get to as we continue on the slate here. But Obi Toppin at 5.2 as well, going to be a phenomenal play if he continues to play in the starting lineup. Very solid fantasy point producer, 5.2, not a high enough price tag for me to get off him. So I certainly think that he's going to grade out as a great play here. Played 45 minutes last time, 41 DraftKings points. If he plays that many minutes again, I mean, at a 5.2 price tag, I love the play. Certainly have interest in him. Miles McBride at 3.1, also going to be a pretty reasonable value play here. He's only 3.1. That's a very cheap price tag. He's been producing at a high rate on the season. At this 3.1 price tag, he's putting up 0.81 DK points per minute. We saw him get the start last time. He only played 15 minutes, 24 minutes the time before, so he's a little bit risky, but the fact of the matter is he's 3.1. If he's able to get hot, they give him a little bit more run out there. 3.1, I do think that he is a valid play for you in your lineup. Same can go for Emmanuel Quickly at 4.4. I've got him projected in the upper 20 minutes in this one, and at that price tag, he does grade out as a pretty decent value play for me. Once again, maybe not quite as much of a smash play as some of the value plays we're going to talk about on the slate, but the fact of the matter is there's plenty of value to be had here. Mitchell Robinson at 4.9, if he does indeed play, going to grade out as a pretty good value for me as well. If he's out, Taj Gibson, Kevin Knox, Alec Burks, all the guys at the bench would get a big bump up as well. So, plenty of interest on that side. On the other side, we saw Kiefer Sykes start last time. His fantasy point production was absolutely terrible on the season, putting up about 0.33 DK points per minute, but we did see him go out there and put up 24 DraftKings points. So that was 35 minutes. Still not the best fantasy point producer. He only scored 10 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists in 35 minutes. So I don't want to get too excited, but the fact of the matter is he does remain a valid value play. I mean, grades out as a decent value play for me. The upside, I think, is a little bit limited, so that's where I get a little bit scared, but he's still popping. Torrey Craig at 4.6. Once again, another value play in this game. You can't play all these guys, obviously, but I just want to point it out. You can mix and blend these guys. If you're playing multiple lineups, you can definitely mix and blend these guys in your lineups, and you're going to be feeling pretty good about it. And then, obviously, the pay-up options. I do think Miles Turner gets a big bump up here as well with all these guards being out, although they're not directly correlated. RJ Barrett at 5.6, with there being no Julius Randle, certainly gets a bump. Miles Turner at 6.8 is the cheaper of the two, and him and Sabonis, and in a slow-paced game, he might make sense to be going to because Sabonis is priced up to 9.9, like we talked about. Slow-paced game, maybe not quite as good of a game environment to get there at his price tag. I still have plenty of interest. Just some food for thought there if you want to pivot off him to a Miles Turner, but Sabonis is going to be a smash play. He's just going to have so much usage, so much rebounding upside, all that fun stuff. He kind of is the full package with these injuries, so Phoenix taking on the New Orleans Pelicans as far as a total in this game. This game right now comes in with a 224 over-under with an 8.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns, so expected to be a fairly fast-paced game here. There's no DeAndre Ayton. There's no JaVale McGee. That's going to continue to make us have interest in Mr. Jalen Smith. His price tag really hasn't come up that much. He's still 5.5. He was 5K last time. He was my lock of the night. Now he's 5.5. That is not an expensive enough price tag for a guy that puts up the amount of fantasy points per minute that he does. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Over 1 fantasy point per minute. He's going to continue to get to see the minutes with there being no JaVale McGee, with there being no DeAndre Ayton. So he's going to continue to grade out as a great value play for me. On the other side, running it back, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, obviously the top 2 usage guys on the Pelican side. Brandon Ingram, somewhat limited, coming back off that Achilles injury last time out. So I might tread lightly a little bit on Brandon Ingram. Jonas Valanciunas at 9.3. Playing right around 30 minutes. The fact of the matter is the Phoenix Suns are actually a very good defensive team as well, so I'm a little bit concerned here about a possible blowout. The New Orleans Pelicans really aren't good defensively, so I have a lot more interest in targeting the other side for pay-up options. However, I do think there's some pretty solid mid-range options here on the New Orleans Pelicans, most notably Josh Hart at 6'6". He's a guy that just continues to smash all season long. He's a great rebounder. He gets you there with peripheral stats. He can get you there with scoring. Last time when he put up 34 DraftKings points, he only scored 15 real-life points. Anytime I see that for a guy that's priced in the mid-6K range, I'm getting excited to play him. So he's a guy that I would continue to go to. Devonta Graham also at 6K is a guy with plenty of upside at that price tag. Can be a little bit versatile, could be a letdown. Great tournament play though at only 6K price tag. And like I said, on the other side, I have a lot of interest in Devin Booker. I have a lot of interest in Chris Paul. They dominate all the usage on this team. The New Orleans Pelicans squad is terrible defensively. I love Devin Booker in that spot last time out against the Charlotte squad. He had a great matchup. He only played 29 minutes because they absolutely blew them out. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to quite get you there. He was on pace to have a tremendous game, and I think he could do so again in this game if this game doesn't blow out. So the same rule is going to apply for Devin Booker, and the same rule will apply for Chris Paul. Love both those guys as pay-up options. I love the Jalen Smith play, and Cameron Johnson at 5'2", continuing to see in the 30s minutes. Pretty good fantasy point producer, respectable guy if you want to go to in his lineups. Not quite as high on him as I am these other guys, but he is viable. Lastly, you could round things out with a Herb Jones, who's been getting the starts in the starting lineup, continues to be priced only in the mid 4K range for some reason, and I think that's a pricing tag mistake, even though he's not the most dominant usage guy. Price tag's too cheap. And the last game, guys, Sacramento taking on the LA Lakers here. LeBron James is listed as questionable. He is more so probable, so expect him to be in. Taking on a Sacramento squad that does not scare us defensively. He is in a phenomenal spot here at a 228.5 over-under with a 7-point spread in favor of the LA Lakers. Going to continue to absolutely dominate the usage. He's playing at the center position with there being no Anthony Davis. He's going to have a lot more rebounding upside as well. LeBron James grading out as a phenomenal pay-up option on the slate if you have the value to get to him, and we do. I can tell you that right now. We have another phenomenal piece of value in this game in Mr. Damian Jones for the Sacramento Kings. Expected to get the start here. He played 29 minutes last time out. Great fantasy point producer. Grades out as a phenomenal value play to me once again on my projections. As far as his overall fantasy point production at his 4K price tag, Mr. Damian Jones, who I cannot find all of a sudden, but I can promise you, he puts up over 1 fantasy point per minute. Phenomenal value play at a 4K price tag. He's just going to be too cheap here. Still a guy that I'm going to be wanting to get plenty of exposure to in my lineups, and Damian Jones, who I just hunted down, 0.96 DK points per minute. So, I mean, that's phenomenal, and I'd be willing to bet when I do my latest update on Damian Jones today, it might be up over that after that great performance. But regardless, 0.96 on the season currently, 35 DraftKings points, 4K, not expensive enough for Damian Jones. So I love him as value play in this game. De'Aaron Fox continues to be very cheap, grading out as a pretty respectable tournament play for me as well. He's only 7-1. The problem is, I think I'm willing to kind of overwrite these projections because the peripheral stats just haven't been there. Last game, we finally saw it. He grabbed 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 24 points. So, okay, I will say that. 2 steals. That's more like the De'Aaron Fox we played in the years past. But this season, it seems like he's just getting his, maybe 18 real-life points, not really getting many assists, not really getting many rebounds, not getting many steals, blocks. So for that reason, I've become really concerned about playing him. However, the LA Lakers squad has been terrible defensively. I've been love talking to this Lakers team. They're another team, so this game should be up-tempo. If there was ever a game for him to get there, this should be the one. Same can be said for Russell Westbrook. I really have not been high on Russell Westbrook at a 10-2 price tag, but if there was ever a game where both him and LeBron James could get there, I do think this is a game environment where it could happen. So I might give you the green light on Russell Westbrook tonight. They are a little negatively correlated, but the fact of the matter remains is we've talked about a lot of really good pieces of value on this slate. Damian Jones, Dwayne Washington Jr., Trey Jones, Miles McBride, Obi Toppin. All these guys we've discussed are going to allow you to pay up for a bunch of guys on the slate tonight. So I do think it's going to be a Star Scrubs build for me. A lot of really good pieces of value. So for that reason, if you want to get some Russell Westbrook exposure, I do think this is a night that you could be doing so on a 5-gamer. Quick look over to FanDuel, making sure that we're pointing out some pricing discrepancies for you guys that do play on FanDuel as well. Let's check it out here. The multiplier metric for me and my projections. Damian Jones, once again, grades out as a phenomenal value over here on FanDuel. He's only 4K. Only disclaimer is you're taking up a center spot on a FanDuel slate where you only get 1 center position, so that's a little bit scary. I still think I'd be willing to do it, though. At his production, at his price tag, he's going to make a lot of sense. Brandon Clark at 4.6. We talked about him getting a big bump up with there being no Kyle Anderson. Once again, too cheap over here on FanDuel, grading out as a great value to me. So he's someone that I would be looking to on this slate tonight for sure. Chris Paul, too cheap on both websites, guys. I mean, the guy's just too cheap on both websites. Taking on an New Orleans Pelicans team that's terrible defensively. He's in the 7K range on both websites. He's not priced up enough. So he's a guy that I certainly be getting a ton of exposure to. He should surpass this price tag pretty easily. His minutes have been somewhat limited lately. It's because of blowouts. Don't let it get to you. He's still a phenomenal fantasy point producer. Phenomenal play on this slate tonight. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, way cheaper over here on FanDuel at only $9K, so he grades out as a phenomenal play for me once again. The price tag difference certainly standing out to me on a slate like a FanDuel here. Another guy, Jonas Valanciunas, 7.5. Too cheap on FanDuel. I know he's at the center position. We just talked about Damian Jones. Those are two guys that we could really be locking in at the center position from a first look aspect on this slate tonight. And yeah, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, the Spurs value that we talked about earlier, 5.5 for Keldon Johnson, 4.8 for Devin Vassell. Bates Diop as well, good value play at 4.3, so loading up on the Spurs guys. And then obviously Derek White, as we discussed, and Obi Toppin at 5.3 over here on FanDuel does grade out as a good play once again. So yeah, guys, that's a quick little breakdown for me before I let you guys go. I got to give you my lock of the night. Before I do, guys, quick reminder, head on over to Parlay Play, guys. Use that promo code KJK003. Use the link down below in the description. I'm going to be having a pick on the live stream later today. We've gone from $10 to $534.85. Tune into the live stream. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any live streams, updates that I do. Hit that like button. It does greatly support me, and I do appreciate it, guys. And if you are getting serious about NBA DFS, do check out the premium content packages. Only $19.99 for that KJK DFS NBA package. You get the NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, core plays. Check it out. You can also get the Discord package for only $1 all month of January. And with that being said, guys, gotta give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Chris Paul. This Phoenix Suns team taking on this New Orleans Pelicans team that has been terrible defensively all season long, and Chris Paul's price tag has not been adjusted accordingly to his production. Way too cheap on both websites, and grading out as a phenomenal building block for me on this slate tonight. 1.2 DK points per minute and a 224 over-under game, and only at a 7.4 price tag as far as FanDuel is concerned. 7.8, still too cheap. 1.19 FanDuel points per minute. Expected to play in the mid-30s minutes. 224 over-under. Terrible team defensively that he's taking on. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there we go, guys. Chris Paul, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a second to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to tune into the live stream tonight, hour and a half before lock, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe it's 7 o'clock lock tonight, right? Correct. Okay, it's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune into the live stream, guys. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.